Sometimes you're going to have to stand up against people and stand for what's right, even when it's not a popular decision. You have to be strong. There's a lot of people these days who are very weak. They're very easily influenced. They're pushover. You know, a lot of freedoms and the things that you see in your country are because there are people who died for that. And I'm not saying you necessarily have to die. You're not even, some of you, you're not even being beaten or tortured, but you're afraid of opposition, afraid of what people are going to do to you. And in some cases and in some countries, I know the consequences are a lot more severe than, say, those of us who are in a Western civilization. Some of you, you're facing things where you can be beaten and tortured and murdered and beheaded. And there are people who are facing that, and they are not stopping their cause. So what is going on with so many people who are not exposed to such things, who are so afraid, who are so quick to cower and not stand up for what is right? We're living in times where people are being bullied. People are bullying. If you don't agree with me, we're going to bully you and we're going to gang up on you. This is no different than when we were in school. Remember, there was that one bully, and everybody's going to go with them because they're afraid of that person, and they will gang up on this one person. And the person is strong, but they can't overtake everybody. But you know, sometimes that person will stand up and fight that bully. Even if they're getting bloodied and beat up, they're going to stand for that. And that sometimes encourages other people to stand up and even help to fight that bully off. I remember when I was in the military. I am now retired. I served over 23 years, and I'm glad that I did. And there were times where I was discouraged. I enjoyed it. I would not take it back. I enjoyed those years. I learned so much, and I still apply it to my life today. But with that, you will meet good, bad, and the ugly. I have met people who abuse their power. It was not a reflection of the army or the military on a whole, but there are people who get in there and misrepresent. And if you don't know your regulations, and if you don't know how to use your chain of command, you will think that you can do anything and that you're powerless. Well, I was a person that from I was a young age, I always saw my father standing up. Okay, he was not afraid. He was not afraid to face anyone if they try to go against him physically. I've only seen my father one time. And by that, I mean, I've only seen him almost get into a physical fight one time. And it was when we went to Madison Square Garden, and we saw a wrestling match. And this guy must have thought my mom was by herself because the escalator was so crowded. My father was a little further down. Well, this guy pushed my mother. And when I tell you, my father's eyes got bloodshot red. He was going up the escalators trying to get to this guy. I was so terrified. He was going to protect my mother, okay? But I don't remember. The guy got away. It was all of my mom, my dad, my cousins, my adult cousins. They all had to stop my father because he is not going to let you put your hand on mom, okay? But more often than not, I've seen my father articulate. He was a letter writer. He can articulate. He can speak his point. He will stand up for what is right when people are trying to bully him. He didn't get into fist fights over things like that. He used his voice. He used his brain. And that's something that I never forgot and I still use today. So when I stood up for what was right, I stood up for a person. I was in a position. I was in charge of a clinic, and this person did not like this employee. So the person wanted to write up some things against this individual to get them fired or to get them a bad evaluation. Well, the things that was on the evaluation was not correct, and the method that this person was trying to do and wanted me to go along with it was wrong. And I told them I'm not going to do it. Well, the person was in a higher position than me, so they went over me, did whatever they wanted to do, and this was going to cause what this person was doing was going to cause this person who I am in charge of, who is in a vulnerable position, they were going to get the outcome was going to be bad for them. So I stood up for her. I went and I spoke to whoever I need to, spoke up for her. Here's the funny side of it. I stood up for this person, stood in the fire for them, but they were afraid of the higher ups. So what that individual did was say, oh no, it's okay, I'm not mad, it's fine. And of course now I'm looking like the troublemaker. Now what they did after that was interesting. All of a sudden, they wanted to remove me from my position. All of a sudden, they put me in a place with someone else who I outranked, okay, as a soldier. I outranked them. They're the same rank than I am, but I outrank them in time and grade. That means I have been promoted before them. I've been in this particular grade longer than them. I've been in the military longer than them. But they were doing this thing to try to break me down. So of course people will wonder, well, what happened? This person was in this entire, that they owned this clinic, oh, not owned the clinic, they were running the clinic, they were in this position. Why are they now being moved over here? Why are they now working under someone who is lower ranking than them? It was so much, there were so many things that I saw that was amazing. I mean, it blew my mind how people can get together to sabotage you when you stand up for what is right. But in all of that, I continue standing up for what was right. I held my position. I went in every day and I did my job. You know, the thing with the military is all about how you look and the impression that's being given. Oh, what's causing this senior person to now suddenly be in this position, as if I'm some assistant or I'm just this troublemaker. But the problem is that was a picture that they wanted to show to other individuals. But what I did, I stood strong. I continued to go up the chain of command to see people higher and higher and higher and higher up the ladder. They were trying to stop me. They were trying to get me to be quiet, but I didn't care. I didn't care what they were doing. I didn't care who they wanted, how the impression they were giving people. People who were my subordinates are now looking at me sideways. It's amazing to see how people will change. People who will come into my office and always come to see me all the time, suddenly they're not giving me any eye contact. Even the woman that I stood up for, she was trying to get into the good graces of the person who was trying to destroy not reputation, but was trying to destroy her in terms of her work, trying to get her fired. It is amazing how fear and people wanting to conform will just go along with the narrative, to go along to get along and turn on you. But you know what? In all of it, I remember, I don't even think I was really quite following God when that happened. I wasn't, but I always had this ability to be like, even though, yeah, it would be great if they talked to me, I just didn't care. I didn't care. I'm like, all right, whatever. You don't have to be my friend. I don't care. But that's a good thing, guys, provided that you allow God to balance it out, so you're not so hard that you just don't care about anything. But the Lord has given me the ability to make tough decisions and just move with it despite what's going on. Okay? Especially when after a while it takes so long for me to get to that point. But in this case, guys, I continue to stand up for what is right. And I end up seeing like the highest person on the very top of anybody you can ever see, okay, as far as with the military. And I wrote a letter. I had their audience. I was able to sit down and talk, because when you're telling the truth, you don't have to hide. When you're telling the truth and you've done things correctly, you don't have to worry. When you're doing your job, despite whatever they want to say about you, people they will try to recreate things. But when you are standing in truth and you're asking God to help you and you're getting the strength that you need, it's going to stand out. When people are doing evil, manipulators, liars, those type of people, there's something about their whole presence, even their face, the manipulation, you can see it. When they say eyes are the windows of the soul, is true. A vindictive, malicious person, you'll see it. It's in the way they talk. It's in the way they sneer. It's in the way they get angry. It's in the way that they deal, and they will be known for this. And a lot of times you're going to get vindicated. Sometimes it takes a very long time. It took a while. I continued to do these lower jobs that was well below my pay grade. And at this time now, I was talking to, just really like, Lord, what's going on? And I articulated myself. I sat and spoke with seniors, high-ranking individuals, was able to get their audience. I requested meetings. I sat with them. I talked, and those who try to go against me, they couldn't. At the end of it all, Those people who try to do me wrong, some of them lost their jobs, some of them lost their positions, some of them I saw them being put in positions just like me. One person, and this is another scenario, another person ended up being in some sort of scandal, was removed from their position. The very things that they were trying to do to me, it happened to them. And some other things, I haven't seen the outcome of it. And I don't look and try to find out, well, what happened to them? Did they get their just desert? No. I leave things in the hand of God. What I'm trying to tell you is do the right thing. At the end of it all, I was then put back in my rightful position, in my rightful place. And when people were trying to, at some point, I went and I was running another clinic, another section, doing my job, doing what I need to do. I realized the higher up you get in certain positions, the more foul play you're going to see. And it's not everybody, but you're going to see individuals that want to do wrong to people. And that was going to fly with me. And so I found at some point when I found at some point when it was all said and done, after standing strong and being reinstated and put where I needed to be put and doing the things that I need to do, it was time for me to go. I had reached 20 something years now. I want to let you guys know it didn't take me 10, 15, 20 years to go through those particular scenarios. However, what I'm saying was when I was going through that particular challenge and stint, I had already had 20 something years under my belt. I wasn't even paying attention to it. So my reward was coming. My end, my finish line, I was close to that. And I didn't allow them to rob me of that. And I want to encourage you of the same thing. Keep going, keep going. And I was able to retire. And I'm glad, because there are times I wanted to quit. I wanted to leave. I wanted to let go. But guys, I want to tell you something. You can always quit. You can keep quitting and keep quitting. But no matter how many years you've done at this job, you quit. When you go to your next job, you start from day one. You can get an argument and carry on and quit. You're going to start at day one. That's why some people, they don't like to be in the military. They don't want that for different reasons. They have their own conspiracy theories, stories. But a lot of times it is because they want to be able to quit and do what they want to do. Okay, that's one of the reasons. So you can get into an argument. You could do this. You can run away and go over here and quit and quit and quit. But you're always starting over day one. So you did 6 months here, you starting day one here. You did 2 years over here, you quit, you starting day one over here. And I'm glad that after all that, standing strong, I did not allow them to bring me to a place of buckling. I did not allow them to bring me to a place of I'm going to get out the military, even though times I wanted to, because of these specific individuals. But the military still had me with all these years under my belt. Had I allowed these individuals and this passage I was going through to cause me to lose out, I wouldn't be where I am today. I am retired. I have full benefits. My family have benefits. After I pass away, there'll be benefits that they will get. They have benefits for school. I can walk into the hospital and get treated. All these different things. Why? This is a part of standing up and standing strong and being vocal and not being afraid, because you get the benefits and you get the rights and you get the what is the word I'm trying to find? They're just, when you stand strong in a position and not be afraid and not allow people to bully you and not allow people to cause you to buckle, there are so many things at risk. And when you stand strong and you say no, you're going to see the benefits. You're going to see the residual benefits of what you've done. And not only are you standing strong for yourself, but you're standing strong for your generation. Me standing strong, me staying in the military all these years, my children now have benefits from it. So whatever it may be, whether it's something like what I've gone through or standing strong against a cause, standing strong despite what the majority is saying, always remember, not only are you doing it for yourself and now, you're doing it for the future, for the future of your children, for the future of your society. And bullies are always going to come in groups and they're going to try to make you feel bad. But no matter what, even if you're the only one standing, stand strong, stay strong, and be prayerful. And believe me, God is going to take you through, and he's going to make you be strong, and he's going to make you stand tall, and he's going to vindicate you, and the truth is going to come out. People who are lying always have to try to manufacture the truth. It requires them to, there are a lot of moving parts, a lot of things involved. But the truth, you don't have to hide it. You walk in it, you stand in it, and it's going to bring you vindication. Does that make sense? All right, guys.